What's up guys, Kyle with HypertroFit.com, the best place to design your home gym and develop your training program. Today I'm going to walk you through my favorite cable attachments for the lat pull down, low row, and functional trainer. Let's go. All right, we're gonna do things a little bit differently in today's video. I'm gonna take myself off camera and walk you through all of these different attachments that I have set up on this beautiful dual Adonis from Rep Fitness. One of my favorite things about this machine is having 6 different attachment points. So I can have 6 different things geared up at any different time, and it allows me to just jump around to all kinds of things in my training. Makes things really nice. Let's get into attachments, starting with my lat pull down attachments first. This first one, if you've seen some of my previous videos, you will be familiar with. This is the 4-6 Fitness landmine attachment Tbar Row handle. This thing's awesome. I'll link previous videos where I've discussed this. All those amazing features still apply, and you can see that not only does it have that Tbar Row attachment that the barbell can go through, but we have this nice little hook on top that we can hook into for cable work. And we have the pop pins on the back that allow us to slide so that we can change the width of these handles. The spin on these is incredibly smooth, and the knurling is amazing. This honestly is one of the nicest cable attachments I've ever seen, much less owned, and is pretty much everything that you could possibly want out of something that does so many things so well. Pull downs, Tbar rows, and everything in between. There is one small issue with this, and it's not really the fault of the attachment itself, more of if you are a taller lifter and combining this particular thing with the Adonis, which is 93 inches tall, you will run into some issues in terms of range of motion. And that is because with the way that the Pegasus seat sits, this is the lowest that I can get this. This is, I believe, in the 6th hole, with the seat as far down as it can go until it would run into the low cable trolley at the bottom. And the problem with this pull down handle is that there is a lot of vertical drop to it. So you can see from the cable attachment point, we have the height of the T-bar carriage dropping even lower, and then we have the handles dropping even lower. And I will put up some footage of me using this, and you'll be able to see I cannot get a full stretch at the top with this. If I had a taller tower, this would be a non-issue. If I was shorter, this would be a non-issue. So keep that in mind if you are interested in this as a pull-down attachment. Otherwise, it is absolutely fabulous. The next thing we're going to look at is the pull-down attachment that I actually use the most, and it's because I can get a little bit better range of motion with it. So this is the Prime Fitness Rotate handles attached to a no-name bar that I got off of Amazon that just has a bunch of different cable attachment points, so that you can do the same thing as the 4-6 and you can adjust the width of these Prime Rotate handles. The one custom piece that I added here is this little swivel carabiner that again eliminates a lot of that vertical drop, because when you get these from Prime, it's 2 full-size carabiners with the little twisting pin in between, and that would come up with the exact same issue as the other attachment. But I found these on Amazon, which are supposedly, each one is rated for 225 pounds, 450 combined. I'm not recommending you use them. I don't know if they're the safest things in the world, but I've used them for months and haven't had an issue. My Adonis goes up to 210 pound stacks. Sure, I could add more weight to it, but I don't typically need to do that. So should be well within the weight capacity for these, but these are amazing. The Prime Rotate handles are awesome. This is something that I use very regularly for lat pull downs and for low cable rows. And if I zoom out here, you can actually see the height difference in the drop of that handle. And you also have to keep in mind that that Prime handle is going to sit higher up in your hand, or sit lower in your hand. I don't know if I'm explaining that properly, but your palm is going to be higher because of where you're actually grabbing onto that. which is increasing the range of motion that you're going to have, again, if you're a taller lifter. So if you've got an even taller stack, or if you don't have super long arms, again, not an issue, but if that is something that you need to factor in, I'm 6'1", that is something to keep in mind. So those are definitely my two most used on the lat pull down side. I do have a few others, which we will cover on the wall control over here. This mag grip is one of my absolute favorites. So this allows me to get a great stretch at the top because we don't have that vertical drop from the cable attachment point to where we're holding on to. This slightly supinated position I found works really well on my wrist, and the width of it allows me to really hammer my lats. I've used this attachment for 5 years. It's phenomenal. It still gets regular use in my everyday training. The other stuff that we've got on the bottom here, the two bars at the bottom, both came with the Adonis. So these are both Rep Fitness pieces, just standard lat pull down bar, standard straight bar. They're both really well knurled. They are pretty heavy, so they're not made of aluminum, but really solid quality. Comes with the product, so no complaints there. This is also a Rep Fitness piece. I bought this separately because I just love the uniqueness of it. So it's not quite as tight as the V bar that you see right of it for low rows or pull downs, but it's also really nice from a tricep push down standpoint. That angled diagonal grip that you see there works really well for push downs. So especially if you don't have a bunch of different things and you're looking for a few different angles and things that you can use for various exercises, this I think is actually a pretty underrated piece. I can't remember what exactly it's called, but I think I picked that up on Amazon too through Rep Fitness's store. Other stuff that we're looking on here, so we do have the V bar. This is just a cheap Amazon purchase that I got years ago. This was actually prior to owning a home gym. I would take this into the commercial gym so I could do Tbar rows. Again, nothing special. I don't know what the brand is. Rubber handles, just a V bar. Up next, we have this is actually a Tbar Row attachment from Prime that goes with the rotate handles. You can technically use that top hole to connect it to a cable stack, but it's really not meant for that. It would make the handles be put in a pretty awkward position. So again, not great. Up here we have on the left the metal D handles that come with the Adonis. These are really nicely knurled, amazing quality. That's actually the second set, because if you get the dual Adonis, you get two of everything. So I've got the other ones already hooked up out here, and those get very regular use. Next to that, I have another set of really cheap D handles that came with something else. I still actually use these from time to time if I'm doing exercises where I don't want to hold on to the grip. Say if I'm just passing my hand through here for various movements, that's why those are still up here. And then a couple things from Spud Inc. that are for heel can be set into this, so you can do like leg curls, glute kickbacks if you're trying to do that on a cable machine. And then this is another Spud Inc. piece that is kind of like a rope you can use for push downs, face pulls, all very sturdy and stable. So really nice piece. I know we kind of went past the lat pull down route, but that's the wall control over there. So now we'll move on to the low cable row. And I should mention that both of these work really, really well for low cable row. So both the Prime rotates and the Force 6. Obviously, anything you use for a pull down, you can pretty much use for a low cable row. But I also really like to use this wider grip neutral handle with the camber to it, because you can get more range of motion without the bar running into your stomach. So if you're trying to do that with the straight bar pull, you're gonna run into the belly before you can get that full contraction, whereas with that nice camber, you're not going to have that issue. So this is a regular use case for me on low cable rows, and I also really like this on the case of the Adonis with the Pegasus seat when I am set up in chest supported rows for the exact same reason. So we're gonna get more range of motion before that bar starts to contact the bottom of the seat. If we move over to the left side, we have a basic easy bar handle for curls and tricep work. This is from Rep Fitness. Again, super high quality. The only thing that would make this nicer is if it was aluminum and a little bit lighter just to move around and manage, but when something is this small, it's really not super heavy. So this thing's awesome, super smooth on the swivel, and again, really good knurling there. So that gets regular use and is typically what I keep loaded up on the low cable row side of this Adonis. And then if we move up to the functional trainer trolley, you will see an attachment that I really don't see too many people talk about, which is the slingshot shake strap, which is a really unique piece because while you've definitely seen ab straps before, and like I already showed you, there's a very similar shorter one the Spud Ink one has. What makes this unique is if you've ever used the slingshot before from Mark Bell that has that elasticity to it to help with your bench press, they've used that in a section of this strap. And so what that does is it creates kind of a hybrid movement where we have obviously the tension from the cable pulley that we're pulling on or pushing on, but we have the elastic component of almost a band in addition to that. And this changes based on how you are performing the movement. So if you are being very explosive and quickly going through the concentric phase of the range of motion, you're going to feel two very distinctly different feelings. You're going to get almost an elastic band punch out of the start, and then that rebound catches up and then the cable tension kicks in. If you go slower, it's more similar to just your standard cable movement. So you can incorporate different movement speeds into your exercises with the shake strap to accomplish things that you've never really felt before. And I'll admit, when I first got this in, I wasn't super crazy about it. I didn't quite know what I thought about it, but as I started to use more and more movements with it and explore different tempos and different ways of using it, I really started to like it. Overhead tricep extensions have become one of my favorite go-tos on this, and a couple other movements that you can do with like cable crunches or curls. It's just a unique feeling. So if you are interested in something that you've never felt before, the shake strap is really interesting, and you can get this on Slingshot, Mark Bell's site. You can get this on, I think Rogue sells it too, but it's a really cool piece. I also quickly wanted to mention that I do have just a standard rope over here, which gets regular use for obvious tricep exercises, face pulls and whatnot. And then I do also have these ankle/wrist straps that get regular use as well when I'm trying to do some exercises that don't involve my grip whatsoever. One of my favorites being a lying lateral raise, which I'll show here as well, but works really, really nicely. And I've got a couple different pegboard attachments that I've added aftermarket to hang those on the Adonis here because those are not standard, but wanted to make sure I got those in here as well. So that is pretty much the entirety of my current cable attachment collection. I would love to know what you guys think below. Is there anything that you've used that you really like that you think I need to check out? Because this is certainly not the end of my collection. I plan on looking at some of the other prime pieces, specifically the, I think, 4-in-1 handle. So that's definitely going to be on my list for the future. But let me know if there's other stuff that I should check out. I'm always interested in adding more to my attachment game over here. Always keeps training interesting, and it's a very small thing that you can add to the gym, which is super nice. So if you guys are interested in picking up any of the equipment that I showed off today, I will have a number of affiliate links down in the description, and all of those directly help the channel at no extra cost to you. In the case of Prime, I actually have a 5% discount code, which you can grab down there as well. And I look forward to catching up with you guys in the next video.